everybody. It is me, Pacific. Yes, your video quality is not going to be high quality because I'm in this bedroom, and when I'm in weird lighting, it just does things. Okay, it's time for me to come clean with my viewers. But before I say this, I'm going to be very honest. I expect those people to come out and go, "Oh, Pacific, why did you do that? That was dumb." But I made a commitment that when I did this channel, we're not going to varnish and gloss over anything. You get the privilege of seeing Pacific do his ups and downs and all that. Now, I don't tell you everything that goes on in my life because I'm just not going to do that. But I got an email last night. I got an email from somebody. I tried to put her out of my mind. And I wrote her again. Yes, that's Indo. And I'm sure I'm going to have guys say, "You know what? I'm going to leave you just for that." Okay, go ahead. Pacific's human. Pacific is trying to get back into his world, go to work every day, and I look at the people that I work with, and I look around, and I go, "You know what? I'm not going to find a girlfriend. Not like her. Not like her." I have finally determined something. I'm going to say my heart. I'm going to share a few things tonight. It's Manic Monday, folks. And I need to be honest. I know that this may not happen. But that's okay. I still have to be honest with what I'm feeling. And I do live in the U.S. And I know that I am here. But I've come to some conclusions. In the email from Indokita, she was not advising me to move to Melbourne at all. She knows we cannot be together. We have feelings for each other, and I've tried to shake them, and I can't. In her email, she strongly suggested I find another country and get out of the United States. I have been feeling that for a long time, but I was reluctant to pursue that mentally because I thought, how? I'm 48. I'm not going to go get a 4-year degree and at 52 get out and say, "Okay, here I am, take me." That's one. Two, where am I going to go where I can get sustainable employment? The only option for Pacific to live overseas is if a family really fell in love with me and sponsored me, or a company wanted to hire me. That's it. I don't really have skills that are high demand for the foreign market. But I want to tell you a couple things that have gone through my mind in the last week. I called one of my friends, one of my viewers from Cleveland. Actually, he called me last night. I called him while I was on my break, laying down in my pickup truck in the front seat today, catching some nap time. Decided to call him, and he shared some things with me that I didn't even know. Now, I told you I dated the Korean gal. 2 years ago, she had an interview at one of the colleges here in town, and she was applying for an admissions job, and she told me that they don't check to make sure a student is legal to be in the U.S. In fact, they don't even care. Listen to this. And I said to her, "Are you serious? The universities and the colleges don't even screen to make sure that they're on a student visa?" She goes, "Nope." I found that very interesting. I want to tell you something. When we talk about college and universities and that they have an agenda, part of their agenda is to destroy the United States and the Constitution. And if you think I'm kidding, just listen in. Obama And my friend was going to send me the link through Skype. I haven't looked at it yet. But Obama said any of the colleges or universities that check Social Security numbers, visas, passports, any of that, that he and the government will come after them. No, not the illegals, but the university for doing that. You know, Hillary had a speech just recently, I'm going to say within the last couple weeks, and an undocumented worker, a Mexican woman, stood up. I'm assuming Mexican. She stood up and said, I'm an undocumented worker, and I'm tired of the fear that I have to face, and this shouldn't be. Now, we all think that Hillary's going to run for president, and what did Hillary say? Here's what I would have said. I would have said, so you're here illegally, huh? And being who Hillary is, I'd say, guards, you need to take her in right now. But no, this is where Hillary said, that was brave of you to stand up. Let me say something very clear. The colleges don't care if you're illegal or not. They just want the money. They're not interested in upholding the standards or the laws of the United States. The reason I'm talking about this is because enough parents or people in America don't even know about this stuff. And America will never ever change with the way people are acting today. 100% apathetic. People are not standing together in unity and saying, we've had enough. They're not doing it. People are obsessed with their lifestyles and their personal, self-centered, narcissistic ways of life. We'll never galvanize people to get together, and the government knows this. The universities have an agenda, and it's not to promote God. It's to promote a one-world government. It's to promote gross immorality. It's to promote homosexual marriages and homosexual behavior and abortion and all kinds of things. Universities are not interested in promoting the family or a true education that starts with Jesus Christ and the Bible. And I started thinking today after Indokita's letter, if only there was a way. And I listen to counsel. But right now I'm getting conflict. I talked to a coworker at work that I respect, a white male. Asked him if he was going to do grounds this summer. Grounds is working for the school district of various schools and mowing, weed eating, and hedge trimming. I decided not to do it. It's $10 an hour, and it's hard work in 105-degree weather. Most of this no shade, and it's yucky. I could do that all summer, or I could work summer school routes, go to Vermont for 2 weeks, and have the summer off. And yes, it dings the bank account a little, but I can afford to do that, so why not? But I called my friend in Cleveland. He's the one that shared those facts with me about Hillary Clinton's undocumented fan in the crowd, and then Obama telling colleges, don't you dare ask for people's credentials. Let me tell you something. In my job, we have credentials check often. Your CDL, your first aid card, and your DOT card. You don't have those, you're sent home. And if they're expired, you're pulled out of the bus and said, until you get that, you can't drive. I find it interesting that the colleges are not allowed, and the colleges don't check credentials, and that Obama, the highest office of the land, the President of the United States, is telling our colleges to break the law. Don't check people. We all know why this is happening. We all know that Obama and the Democrats are currying favor with the illegals and the minorities because if they can get them on their side, they've got Democrats for life. We know what's going on. That should be illegal as hell, but it isn't. I want to leave the United States because I believe we are in big trouble, and I believe it's going to get worse. The guy that said he's not doing grounds this summer, we were talking about things and talking about the state of our economy and talking about our age, and I'm 48 and he's older, and that there really is no career stuff out there for us and our age. And he said, you should go to a foreign country. And I found that very interesting because I had just gotten an email saying the same from Indokita. Ironically, as we talked, I said, I would love to, but that's not so easy to do. You have to have a 4-year degree. So, as we were talking, my supervisor came out into the hallway and said, go to New Zealand. And I laughed and I said, well, New Zealand's beautiful, but I don't think that'd be my first destination. She continued to talk and she said, we were warned about this, you guys. Obama flat out said he was going to change this country. And he very clearly wants to change it into a socialist way. And he's already begun. And she said the problem is that the people in this country, a lot of them are not waking up and not paying attention. And she is from Germany. She moved here, what did she say, 40 years ago? She's been with my place of employment for, I think, 25, 30 years. And she leans conservative, and she said, I have concerns for America and where it's headed. She is totally against Obamacare. She told me some things that I didn't even know, that Obamacare is not allowing, if you're 55 or older, they're not even allowing for preventative care anymore. I find that ironic that even the healthcare providers always believed in preventative care because it ends up costing them less in the long run. So when Pacific talks about this, the question may be asked, but what can we do? I've given suggestions what we can do. If every one of us that made $50,000 a year or less walked off our jobs for 1 week in this country, we could bring this country to its knees and say, we will go back to work when you repeal this foolishness and do it immediately. The only way we could get things done is to cripple the American economy. And if you brought in all the truck drivers and all the service workers and all the people in nursing homes and all the restaurants and school bus drivers and people helping contractors, all the different things that are $50,000 a year or less, I guarantee you, the shopping malls would shut down, Walmart would shut down, most of the public schools would shut down, the libraries would shut down because there's nobody there to do anything. But the problem in America is we cannot galvanize that many people to do something. We'll complain, we'll even bitch and moan, but we won't get together and take that stand. I find that very interesting. And I ask myself over and over, why is that? Because most people think, well, we'll just absorb the cushion. There's nothing we can do about it. So I started thinking today, and I called my friend and said, how can I leave? How can I go and get? He said, he watched my video, said, you're talking about that you might leave the channel one day. He said, you've kept us all interested. It would be a shame for you to leave without coming full circle. So maybe you should go back to Hong Kong and to make the legal divorce of Beth. And maybe by you being there and doing some videos over there, it would come full circle, and that'd be a good time for you to end it. I then told him about my struggle with church. And then told him about my struggle with people. And told him, people tell me what a nice guy I am online, and people tell me good things and make me feel good, but then I go into my everyday world. And you know what hit me when I left church yesterday? I never thought I would say this in 48 years of my existence. Let me back up a little. When I first started driving a school bus, I was terrified of junior high routes. I did not want them. I did not like them. I couldn't stand teenage kids. They're like driving nitroglycerin. You never know when they're going to blow off. You never know when the other shoe's going to drop. I'm going to be making a school bus student management tutorial because of what I've learned. I believe it's very effective. And I think a lot of drivers who do watch school bus videos will need to watch this when I do it. I've learned to change the way I deal with students, and I find it's very productive. Something very profound that wasn't really taught to me, it just happened by accident. And I'm not going to give away the punch for that. That'll be in that video. I feel more comfortable with a bunch of rowdy teenagers than I do at church on Sunday morning. The dichotomy of Pacific trying to become more holy and Christ-like is a very tough thing for me. There is a bit of wildness in me, and I am a free spirit. And no matter what people say, I hear a lot of talk that you can master this and you can master that, and some people have and some people haven't. But when the people in the church don't love beyond the end of their own little nose, when Americans have become so myopic and self-centered and materialistic and have more care for their dog than the person sitting next to them on Sunday morning, I don't care how much Bible knowledge is dump truck loaded back into me every week. I sit there and go, and what is this doing? I want to leave the United States for the following reasons. Our government isn't doing any good anymore. It's doing whatever it wants. People vote in leaders, and leaders are just tearing this country apart. They're catering to the pot smoking, to the gays, to the abortionists, to the feminists, to the lazy, to the illegals, to the thugs, to the organized crime, and to corporate greedy bastards running corporate companies. They don't care for me or you or the small guy. I've heard people tell me, well, companies deserve to make whatever they work hard to earn. Do they? The oil companies made record profits just recently. Have we seen a lowering of the price of gas at the pumps? How about if we drop the gas down to $1 a gallon for 1 year? That might make a lot of Americans quite happy. But would they think of doing that? Nope. And Americans keep pushing it up and buying bigger gas guzzling things because the companies know, well, they've cushioned it, they're paying for it. I find that interesting. We've made a vehicle our God as well. I want to leave the United States because I believe Obama is pure evil. I believe he hates the white man, and I believe he wants to do everything he can to destroy the white man. I want to leave the United States because the United States is drenched in racism from all ethnicities. Now, there are groups of people that get along, but there are still walls up in this country. I want to leave the United States because it's getting harder and harder to make a living and pay the rent and live and work an honest job. I want to leave the United States because vice is the only way to get ahead. Selling oneself out to porn, drug trafficking, the alcohol industry, violent movies, Hollywood, all the junk that we do not need is profiting hugely. I want to leave the United States because our United States government is putting more burden, more stress, and more financial pressure on us who are working hard but are low income, while giving free rides to the poverty-stricken that will not get a job. When black women can have babies and screw around and sit in the projects, and Mexican women and white women, it's disgusting. I want to leave the United States because I could never bring a beautiful woman here without cost and paperwork and bureaucratic crap. But if you're Mexican, you can just hop the border, have a baby, and then be granted amnesty. I wonder what the U.S. would do to me if I found an Asian woman, such as Indokita, brought her to Mexico, and we both climbed over the fence together, and I just brought her in and said, just shh, be quiet. And when he declares amnesty, then we'll put you up and say, here she is. She's now a citizen. Our government is very corrupt, people. As a friend of mine said, the Chinese are showing up in the droves. They're getting over here on student visas. They're getting jobs right away. And we can't even provide jobs for us. And I'm going to say something on this video. The most discriminated person in the United States right now as we speak is the white male. That is a fact. Women are saying it. White women are saying it. Our country favors feminists. They have affirmative action for the blacks, Hispanics, and Asians. But what is there for the white man? Now, the ethnicities that are different to me will comment and say, oh, well, the white man's in control of everything. I know the white man's got problems. Trust me. But I'm also seeing the squeeze get put on us as well. We are put down by the feminists. We are hated by some of the ethnicities out there. We are blamed for all the racism out there, and I'm here to tell you that is bull pucky. The white man is not solely responsible for all the racism that goes on. If I wander into the wrong neighborhood in Cleveland, I could get the stuff kicked out of me by a black neighborhood. And I haven't done a thing. That's not my fault. That's called hatred. If I go down into LA into certain neighborhoods where there's Mexicans, just by myself, unattended, strolling through, I could get shot because I'm white. I see it right here where I work. There are ethnicities that only speak to, favor, and hang out with their ethnicities, and they look at me like I'm a piece of walking garbage. Hatred is all around us, folks. Yes, I saw problems in Hong Kong. So my friend suggested, why don't you go there a year? And I said, yeah, but I don't want to drain my bank account to get a piece of paper that says I'm divorced from Beth. I don't even know where she is. If she doesn't sign it, this could drag on beyond a year. Then what? If I have a job over there, then I'd have a reason to go and I could file. And I said, but can I be honest with you? And I know some of those people that are all about morality are going to let me have it on this. I'd say, there's no way I'm going to be able to be there for a year and not want to have a girlfriend. And I told my friend I could find a girlfriend in 1 week of landing in Hong Kong. If I played my cards right, I could get on Craigslist and say, I'm an expat. I need to stay there and do business for a year. I'd like a Filipina domestic helper who lives out to rent with her, and I will share the expense. Somebody who'd like to date me for a year. But then I struggle with that. I'm a Christian. Is that right? Can you live with somebody? Can you live in sin? And the answer is no. Life has become hard. On the one hand, we're supposed to live godly, committed lives, committed to God. On the other hand, I'm human as all get out and tired of the loneliness. I have a cabinet of viewers that I talk to, that I tell some of my deepest, darkest secrets to. They are good for me. What I'm saying to you is I'm not whining. I want to leave the U.S. People have told me, viewers have told me, myself has told me, you have tried and tried and tried and tried. You're not finding it here. When our government is telling our universities not to check credentials, how can I have respect for that? Hillary Clinton is poised to run for president. That's what all the scuttlebutt on the QT is. And I think this country's dumb enough to vote her in. People would say you're chauvinistic. No, I'm not, but I don't believe a woman should be president. I will state that from a biblical basis. And definitely not Hillary Clinton. She will continue making things just as bad as Obama is. And what disturbs me is that Americans are stuck on stupid right now. A lot of American women are haters. They're mean, they're foul, they're slutty, they're rude, they're obsessed with Hollywood. And as my friend in Cleveland said, the government has deliberately made it this way. You got to have a car, and you got to work to have a car, and you got to drive all around everywhere just to get the things. Go back and look at New York City in the turn of the century. People lived, worked, worshipped, and were educated within the same, 8-block radius. Those days are gone, my friend. That was a perfect model. And we wanted suburbia and wanted our car freedom. I would rather go back to the community. I'd love to work within a few blocks of where I live. And the store's downstairs, and the church is across the street, and the school's 3 blocks over. I would love to go back to that. I think that's one of the things that attracted me about Hong Kong. I walked dogs for expats. I shopped at the stores. Now, the church was a little ways out, but everything was within a very walking distance area. Everything. To go to my place, the last place I rented in Hong Kong, I'd walk right through the marketplaces 2 blocks from my house, or flat. Americans wanted to spread out. They wanted their independence, and we got our independence. And the government has been playing on that ever since. Don't you know the old saying, Americans? Divide and conquer. Everybody's out thinking they're a legend in their own mind, and that's exactly what the government wants. We're not like Egypt, where you can all get on Facebook and Twitter and message back and forth and say, we're tired of this government, let's do something. No, the government knows that. They don't fear us at all. And the government is slowly going like this to us. And that's what they're doing. And Americans are just lulled to sleep by more television, more pro-pot smoking legislation, more let's give the gays the right to marry. And everybody thinks our government loves us. No, it's just like Satan. Satan wants you to believe you're his darling child. And when he's done with you, he'll spit down your neck. The government's going to do the same thing. Our leaders are egotistical megalomaniacs. And my hard drive is running all the time. What could I do to get to Asia and stay there? So I reason in my mind, yes, it'd be fun to go to Hong Kong for a year, but get involved with a woman and then have to leave. A bond broken. Why? I bring up Indokita, and I don't care if some of my viewers get all bent about this. You may say, you're not moving on, Pacific. I'm trying, and I did for several weeks. And I wrote her, and she said, I'm glad you wrote me, because I really thought, it was just easy for him to move on, and she felt bad. And we both know we can't have each other. She shared with me some things this last week that I was shocked to hear. Melbourne. She talked about Aussies, big, giant men. They're called tradies. They're blue-collar people like, us. And she said, I don't respect Westerners and people who do what you do because Here in Australia, I'd stand on the corner and wait for the light, and she always dresses modestly. She doesn't show any skin except her face, her hands. She's had people yell racial slurs at her, sexual stuff, rude stuff, all from Aussies. She was walking with her sister the other day, and stuff was yelled, and she was getting ready to yell, and her sister pulled her back and said no. Indokita said, I'm shocked because you're so different, you're so accepting of me. And I'm like, how could I not be? She's given me a picture of Melbourne that makes me very unwilling to ever live in a city like that. I said, you're just very fortunate I'm not there, because if I was there, I'd probably get in a fight with one of those idiots. I'd say, you know what? Watch your mouth, boy. And knowing Aussies as well as I do, they'd stop that car and get out and punch me in the next week. Our whole world is changing. Western nations are just going down the toilet faster than any of them. Australia, Canada, the US, the UK, they're just going down the toilet bowl. There is no place that's paradise. If you go to Manila, the homosexuality and the lesbianism and the prostitution is off the charts. Meanwhile, while all those people are resorting to that to make a living, young ladies prostituting themselves as peni to live, then you go over to Makati where they're selling multi-million-dollar high-rise luxury suites to rich expats. And I look at the dichotomy of our world and I go, my gosh. People with the filthy amounts of money, they don't care about us and our struggles. They don't want us up there where they're at. I know the white man has done a lot of evil things. But at the same time, I don't like a president coming in whose father was openly racist to us and called us all empire builders. All Obama's been doing is enabling the kind of people that I work with and see all day, the black people that are 350 pounds with an attitude and entitlement. He's just giving them more fuel to keep on being that way. I got a problem with that. And I'm not racist. There's a black woman that I hug every day. She's always sweet. And I hate racism. It's an ugly, ugly thing. But Obama is bad for the country. His administration is bad for the country. They're ramming socialism through. They're doing things that are unconstitutional. And it's just wrong. I don't want to be here. And yet I go, but what choice do I have? To go to Hong Kong, to spend a year there, to get involved with a girl, to spend a year to hopefully obtain a divorce certificate from her would cost a lot of money. Somewhere around $15,000, $20,000 for the whole year and everything. And then I'd come back and have to start all over again for a piece of paper. And I've actually come to the conclusion that why no one's going to marry me now. Not here. I'm not going to find a woman that I'm going to want to marry here. No way, no how. And it's not that I'm trying to torture myself by keeping in touch with Indokita. It's that, she's the only breath of fresh air I have that way. And yet, there's still a struggle because we're both human. And a struggle that ultimately will end in us finally saying, this can't be. Now, I want my viewers to understand what I'm saying. I don't know what's going to happen in America or this world. she informed me that there's grave concern down in Australia right now about the Australian economy. But I find it interesting that if you go through the university route, you can go into any country in the world through the universities, and apparently you can come to America even without a student visa. It's funny. The Chinese can come here and they make sure they have their student visas and everything before they get in this country, but the Mexicans can walk right in, get an education, and nobody checks their credentials. That's evil. And I really want my viewers to start looking at ways that we can magnify this to the public and say, do you know what is going on? But I'm afraid we're living in a day and age where most of the people say, so what? Who cares? Talked to my friend in Cleveland. He took his father's car out to go visit a friend. In the short time he was at his friend's house, somebody came and hit and ran the car, damaged it, and now my friend's got to pay a deductible. Last week, an employee threw a rock through somebody's car at work. There's hit and runs in Denver every day, all day. People driving without insurance. And I sit here and I look at this and it's like, man, life is not easy. And I thought, boy, I wish I could do a video that got like hundreds of thousands of views, begging and pleading, could you please deliver me from the country? Could I please be a refugee in another country? Am I saying I have it so bad here? I don't. I have a job. I have a place to live. That's good. But when I can feel more comfortable around a busload of junior high students than I do in church on Sunday morning with the so-called people of God, something is wrong. Something is wrong. When a girl so far overseas is nicer to me than anybody in my present world today, when Christians who see me and know me can't even say hello, and a 23-year-old can watch my videos admitting all my sins, all my faults, and have such strong, good feelings towards me. And I sit in church and go, do I have BO? No. Do I look like a freak? No. And I look at dowdy-dressed, plain Jane women, men that don't exercise much of a pulse, in fact, kind of the wimpy male look, really, and I sit there and go, here's a girl who's devoted to God, who's got a hugely intellectual mind, who's got passion and feeling in her. And Christian women here won't give me the time of day. And I go, wow, isn't that interesting? And the Christian woman here would say, well, there's definitely got to be something wrong with that girl. There was a group from, shoot, I can't even think of the name of it. It's a place up in South Dakota, Hot Springs, South Dakota. It was a Bible Institute. And it was 16, 12 girls, wait a minute, 16 of them, 10 girls, 6 guys. And they were a choir, and they were singing. And I looked at all of them, they were all white, and they all looked, perfect hair, short hair, and the girls with the long hair, and the poster child for the Christian look. And after the concert, when I left church, and after the sermon, one redhead gal in the group was standing there. I said, hey, I wanted to thank you for the beautiful music. She didn't even say thank you or anything. She just was a dud. And I thought, yeah, and a girl like that wouldn't date me because I'm too wild for her. But she can't even speak and say thank you so much. Couldn't shake my hand, nothing. She doesn't know me. She doesn't know my past at all. This is the way Christianity is today, folks. We spend more time in these legalistic, self-righteous churches telling people how to dress right, keep their hair short, don't drink, don't chew, and don't date girls that do. And there's no passion, no manners, no love, no anything. And I come out of there and go, wow, they're going to Bible Institute, and they're wholly devoted to God. Unbelievable. Music does speak to me. In my bus the last couple of days, I heard a song that caught my attention, and I sent it to Indokita, All of Me by John Legend. Love your perfect imperfections, all your curves and all your edges. It's a nice song, nice lyrical content. It's sad that when there's no students on my bus and the song comes on, I turn up the radio and I start singing, all of me loves all of you. You're my end and my beginning. How come I can't get that kind of passion in church? There is a link between lack of passion over here and us going crazy over here. I've talked to more people in the last couple months through my YouTube channel that are absolutely lonely, struggling with addictions to porn, lesbian porn, a woman I know, men struggling with things, me struggling because we're alone, alienated, ostracized, ignored. You go to church and everybody's got their fish symbols for Jesus and their little Christian flags, and they don't care about you. And then all you hear is more guilt come down from the pulpit. And I've had in the last couple months, Indokita, the guy from Cleveland, a woman from Michigan, and other people say, I get more out of your messages than I do from the homilies of my priest or the pastor in my church. The reason I tune into your channel is because you're so real about your struggles. Self-righteous Christian women flakes that say they can get any date they want but haven't will come in and judge me and butcher me to pieces. And yet there's a huge number of people out there that the church isn't reaching out to, isn't caring for, and in spite of my own train wreck of a life, people are finding my channel a touchstone. And just the other day I questioned, am I really doing any good? And I was reminded, yes, God is doing something. You're bringing a bunch of people together that are interacting through commenting and stuff. And I'm telling my viewers, I can't always comment to all of you, but you can comment to those and reach out to those. Yes, even the opposite sex, and get to know them. You might fall in love and you might not, but at least you can make a friend and call and talk to each other, encourage each other, because I'm telling you, living on YouTube and living on Facebook is a sham. But if we can all reach out to each other, I've had several people tell me that they're glad I call. I've had one woman says, you're the only friend that I have. Ouch! She works for a living. She's nice. She's polite when I ask her to do something for me. Could you find me that link? She's on it. I said, if I were to ever become a company and I was ever to go big with this, I would hire you as a secretary. No questions asked, right? I wouldn't even ask for your resume or an interview. She said, are you serious? I said, I'm 100% dead serious as a heart attack. I wish I could become something that made money. I would hire some of my viewers right off the top. I do go up and down. I have emotions, folks. There's sometimes I hit the toilet bowl. And there's other times I'm flying so up there that I'm up in the stratosphere. That's part of being human. Many of you may go, why did you contact Indokita? Because I'm human, and because you know what? I've tried to get involved, and I tell you what, it's the reality out there. I don't know about you guys, but the reality out there is pretty hideous. I don't want to be negative. I don't want to do cry in my beer videos. But the truth is, it's not pretty out there. Traffic, people, churches, they're all fallen and messed up. And I'm afraid too many people are going to church to get intellectual stimulation from good Bible preaching, or jump up and down to Jesus rock and walking out going, oh, I felt good, I got to the president. Yeah, whatever, you're floating on something, but it ain't the Holy Ghost. Where's the love? Why does a girl who's 23 who could get any guy she wants want me? Why does a girl who says she can get any guy she wants attack, write me crappy emails, self-righteous, judge me, I would never get involved with you, you're a liability, you're a wreck, you're a mess, you did this, you... Indokita is much prettier than she is, hands down. Much more humble than she is, hands down. Indokita has never said to me, I can get any guy I want. In fact, she says, I don't know why any guy would want me. I'm flat-chested and I'm kind of boring. I said, no, you're not. The contrast between two women, an American woman from the UK and her, was unbelievable. You know that as much as many of my viewers thought this is unproductive to be incommunicado with a woman who's 16,000 or 16 time zones away, yeah, you know what that did to me? It's given me confidence to go, you women are really a mess, and I don't have to take this. I have a mirror to hold up, and that's her, and I can hold it right back at them and say, you don't measure up to this at all. Don't even look at me and my faults, because she's seen all mine. She's not deluding herself. She's told me in her emails, I do find it interesting that I've fallen in love with a guy with so many flaws. Maybe she has more of the Spirit of Jesus Christ than most of us do. What did Paul say about we love him because he first loved us? You know, if Jesus were to handle things the way American women do on dating men, it would be something like this. Could you see Jesus putting a profile out there? I'm seeking only godly men who are walking and following all the 10 commandments before I'll even bother to give them eternal life. I'm seeking men that are over 6 feet tall and earn a good salary and don't have any baggage or drama. Could you imagine Jesus writing a post like that? And Christian will go, oh, come on, Pacific, that's not it is the same. You know, something's happening to me in the last year that I'm shocked. I'm finding myself saying, you know what? Better to be with a woman that you both love each other and overlook some faults than be on this quest to find the perfection. Because a lot of these women are going to go alone to their grave, so uptight, so rude, so stuck up, that guys at some point are going to say, I don't care how cute you are, you're a pain in the butt, I don't want you. I'd rather spend my life investing in somebody and overlooking a few things. And I'm not talking about all the junk we talk about American women and feminism. Some of that stuff is impossible to overlook. But some of you wondered why I went after the Filipina. Well, I do care about her. I have a soft spot. And it was good to help her and stuff, but, well, I'm just going to say this much. She's about to get herself in trouble with her landlord. The husband come up to me today and had a little chat with me and said, I need to talk to you. Does she have a boyfriend? I said, no. She said she doesn't want one. And they informed me of something I didn't even know about. Said that she has guys coming and going late into the night and this and that. And I'm like, oh, gosh. Really? She never told me that at all. I said, guys? Yeah, they're all from work here. And I named names. Nope, it's not them. She's just handing out her phone number to everybody. She's using every guy, and the worst thoughts went through my mind. I wonder if they're paying her for sex. I don't even want to know. I was picking her up in the mornings just because I cared, and I thought, done with that. And I'm not going to say anything to her about it. I'm not going to tell her about this conversation I had today. I'm not gonna. I said, well, you're the owner of the house. And because she doesn't have a separate apartment with a separate entrance, you have every right to tell her I don't feel comfortable with all these guys trooping in and out. He said, I have no problem with you coming because we know you. I said, well, I won't be coming anymore knowing what you just told me. I said, I'm quite disgusted to hear that, actually. No, I'm not after her. Did I still have some feelings? I did. But I also know that after helping her move, I thought, oh my gosh, I'm glad I'm not married to her. It would be a basket of problems. But even then, I was willing to overlook some stuff because I have a soft spot for the Asian women. Indokita has shown me that somebody can love somebody with all my imperfections. And that gave me confidence to look at these other women that aren't so nice in churches, that are socially retarded, that though they can sing and they're doing all this stuff for Jesus, and the church went on and on about Bob Jones University just elected a president, the first one to be not named Bob Jones, and I'm like, wow, that's a legendary move. Why did everybody have to be named Bob Jones that ran the university? I would challenge my viewers to look up Bob Jones and do some research. There's some way out stuff with that place. I'm frustrated. I think American Christianity is about to hit the skids. When I look at Indokita, who told me people would love you, the foreigners that I'm with would love you as a person. But she said about her own priest, I'm sick of his homilies. The guy in Cleveland said, I'm sick of the homilies at my church, and I quit going. I'm not giving people garbage. I'm telling the truth about God, myself, talking about my struggles with him, with me, with people, with life, with feminism, with our government. I'm not some malcontent. I'm a human being who struggles. I want to leave this country and leave it for good. And it may not happen. God is the one who leads and guides. My database is searching and my antennas are up for any opportunity. And I will take it, provided I can do it, or feel that God has told me, yes, go, I am in this. Viewers, don't be hard on me for struggling with my humanity, and don't be so hard on me when I have a hard time just kicking somebody to the curb, whether she's 16 time zones away or not. That girl gave me confidence to look around at a lot of our women and go, damn, they really are off base. Indokita shows humility, love for God, and she actually has compassion for people that most American women don't have even a trace of. Christian women. They're more concerned about their damn dog and their coffee coupons and their cleanliness of their SUV than they are me or anybody else. The beautiful thing is I don't have to measure up to any woman's expectations. I don't. I have to measure up to God, and none of us can measure up to God. All righteousness is filthy rags. When we put our faith in Him, He made us His children, whereby we cry, Abba, Father. Why are American women putting this crap on us men, but not themselves? That's not biblical, and it's not right. I can understand if somebody doesn't feel comfortable with somebody, but women are just not only being picky, they're being rude, telling us all our faults, telling us all our sins, even though I already know what they are. I have yet to see a woman in this culture say, I don't like things you're doing and I wish you would just stop it, but I love you. Indo did that. Not one here has. Yeah. So a lot of good has come out of me corresponding with her. I'm learning a lot more about Australia. She uses a term saying some of these Aussies really are bogan. I love that. I don't care for a lot of Aussies. Yes, I want to leave the country. And it isn't just to go chase some Asian girl around. It's because I just feel like, there's so much here I can't do anything about. There's so much here that is not going to change for the better. And I want to be somewhere where I'm actually making a difference. And sometimes I just don't feel like I'm making much of a difference here. I'm thankful for my friends. And I'm sorry to all my YouTube viewers that I don't have every one of you on my speed dial on my phone. I just can't do it. That doesn't mean you're less than or you weren't qualified enough. That's not what I did. I just kind of chose a few people and then said, that's it. Indokita said, loneliness causes us to do weird things. She said, I battle loneliness so much. She said, I love listening to your videos and I like writing you because you're the only one I want to talk to. She has girlfriends over there. That makes me feel good when I have that kind of an effect on somebody so far away. She's in a university. She's with people more intellectual than I am. And she's not impressed with any of them. She thinks I have talent. She thinks I have something. There's so much that makes me say, God, why can't I have that? Why? So I have to settle for the email. I have to settle for what I can get. And am I still looking for somebody here? Yes. Yes. But I'll be honest. No one's going to measure up to her. And I can't do that. I cannot do that. I have to be reasonable. We grew up in this culture, and I've got to be fair. I cannot compare any girl that I have an interest in to her and say, well, gee, it just seems a shame that I cannot have where the first time three things have come together: beauty, God, and intellect. But branching off of all of those, a woman who truly accepts me lock, stock, and barrel. She's not after my money. She knows I'm not rich. She's certainly not after my intellect because I drive a school bus. But she loves me for me. That's pretty huge. And whether I meet everybody's expectations in this American world or not, I've started to realize I can't. I gave up a long time ago. I still kept trying to reach out to white women in this culture, but now I'm smart enough to know, gosh, you get a good-looking white woman after you, she doesn't know you yet, and as soon as she does, she's going to run, so just scare her off right away. That's That's why I say, watch my YouTube channel and get back to me. It's so funny. A woman today come up to me at work and said something about Christmas, and I said, well, I don't celebrate it. Why not? You're a Christian. I'm a Christian. It's about the birth of Christ. I said, no, it isn't. I said, watch my video on my YouTube channel. Oh, come on. It's about the birth of Christ. It's in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And I said, Christmas is not in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. The birth of Christ is in Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. I don't like to argue. I don't like to make it a point to wear something on my sleeve, but it's funny how other people will push stuff on me, and I'll just say, I don't do that. Oh, what's the matter with you? Because I've been set free from that. Most people in this culture are in bondage. That's another reason I want to leave. But we talked about Hong Kong, my friend in Cleveland. He spent time there too, and he said, we talked about the Chinese men. You look in their eyes and there's nothing behind them. They're just droids, emotionless. The whole world is changing, folks, and people everywhere are godless. But there's things that are happening here, and I just kind of sense that we could take a very bad direction. And I feel like if I could get a job overseas, I'd be better off than staying here. And I don't know if my mind's running away. There's a lot of negative talk right now all the way around, and I don't know where our country's headed. And some people say, well, there's nothing you can do about it. The Bible prophesies this. And I said, yeah, but there are things we can do, but we're not doing them. Anyways, Civic needs to get ready for bed. What I can tell you is I'm glad I wrote her, and flawed though it is, and emotionally hard though it is, I've gleaned a lot from that young lady. I've actually seen that if I were to put her in her break room, she'd be soaring at 36,000 feet, while most everybody else in there would barely get above 200 feet. It just makes me sad when I go to church on Sunday and I go to anywhere and it's like, wow, what is the matter with everybody? You be nice to them and they ignore you, and wow. I don't care if a girl's rich or poor. I could care less whether they have a degree. I could care less whether they have flaming high intellect or not in this country. It'd just be nice to find a woman that I truly fell in love with and she fell in love with me, even if she was simplistic. And I just can't believe how difficult that's become. I can't believe how difficult it's become just to connect, feel the warmth and love and passion in a church setting. There's something wrong with that. There's something wrong with that. And that's one of the reasons I drowned myself in videoke. Feeling the music and the beat and feeling nice, sweet women around me. It felt good. Even my pastor in Hong Kong, when I told him the struggle I had, he said, unfortunately, the church should be more like a bar, except without all the drinking and stuff. He says, I said, isn't it sad? I can be myself and actually be real at a bar, but not in a church. And I don't mean a bar, the videoke place. And there's a whole lot of 20-something-year-olds writing to me saying, I'm alone, I'm burnt out on church, and yet I agree with everything you're saying. I believe in God. And they're all saying the same thing. There's no place for us, man, where we can fit. And it dawned on me, what if I could start a movement? Not be some cult leader, but start something where we started something that actually reached out to us. Because our churches aren't doing it. Self-righteous Sallies are just making us angry. We don't need that. But we do need God. We do need His truth. And we need each other. And let me tell you, it's getting easier for me to just brush off the jerks and say, if you And I've changed my attitude about YouTube. People that are criticizing and commenting on this and that, I just finally just block them. I just say, you know what? You're not happy? Go. I'll do it for you. You don't even have to leave comments anymore because you're not going to be able to. For a while there, I was like, I don't want to lose viewers. Now I said, you know what? This is reality. I cannot bend myself into what other people think I ought to be. Pacific has to be captain of the ship, and I don't mean that in a I did it my way, Frank Sinatra mentality, but it's like, this is my channel. And constructive criticism, I understand, but some people are just being nitpicky. And everything I do, it's chip that, chip that, chip that. It's like, why don't you just let Pacific work his stuff out? If it's too much for you, you don't need to tell me anything. Just go. Just go. I want change in my life, but it isn't going to happen by people being rude. It just isn't. So Pacific is going to sign off, but yes, I would like to leave the United States, and I'd like to leave it for good. I would like to be able to be used somewhere and get a job and make it. I wish I could be with Indokita. I wish I could have her. She really is something. I did pull the video for those of you that wonder, because we talked and I said, do you want that up there? And she said, I'm just afraid there's so many scary people in the world, they'll see my face and do me harm just because. I said, no problem, I'll pull it. It's sad that we have to worry about that, isn't it? It's sad. I could be in danger. I'm out here, I'm wide open, somebody could see me and go, oh, there's that dang Pacific. I learned in Sunday school class yesterday that Paul was very vocal about his faith. And when you get vocal, you get the attention of the big shot. And he was telling Timothy, God did not give us a spirit of fear and timidity, but of power, love, and a sound mind. He said he was telling Timothy because Paul was about to die. He was getting ready to leave this world, and he was telling Timothy, don't be ashamed of the gospel. Timothy was starting to do what people in America have done a long time ago. Oh, I'm scared. I don't want to talk about Jesus. Go figure. We're not being persecuted like they were in Timothy's day with Nero and all that. We need to be bold. And when we are bold and when we take a stand, we are going to be open for attack. And the more vocal we are, and the more truth we say, we're going to attract the attention of people, and they're going to go, you know what, this guy's getting on my nerves, we need to shut him down. If God has put a burning in your heart to do it, then you do it. Don't worry about the end result. Today's liberal Bible scholars, or not liberal, that's not a right word, but today's, we don't want to offend anybody, Bible teachers have said that if John the Baptist had shut his mouth and never said anything to Herod, he might have lived longer and had more fruitful ministry. Whoa, hold it. Jesus had not one word of condemnation or consternation for him. He did what God wanted him to do, and it ended up costing his head on a platter. There's a movement going around today in America where God just wants to bless, 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 and make your life perfect. Sometimes living for Jesus may mean that you're going to have a very hard life of persecution and end up going up in flames, and yet you did everything you were supposed to do for him. If we make it our goal to avoid pain and hurt, we're grasping at straws. We just need to be who we are and let God direct our path, even if it's a hard one, and that goes for me too. People constantly say, I can't believe how bold you are. Hey, that could cost me. That could cost me one day. Oh well. Better to go out believing the truth and worried about my 401k and trying to be as non-offensive as possible and talking in light conversation. I'd rather live standing on the edge of truth, or the saying the hard knife edge of truth, than playing that little comfy game. No thanks. Anyways, it's time for Pacific to sign off. I shared you some thoughts. Hope you liked the video. We're not done yet. I've got more subjects to talk about, so I don't want anybody to think I'm going to leave tomorrow. I just wanted to say something to my viewers that I one day will leave. And it could be happening because God takes me, or He sends a diversion my way to get me going down a different track, or this thing could take off and I continue even more so. We don't know. One day at a time. This is Pacific signing off. Bye-bye.